Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are on Friday, February 9th. We're going to take a look at SoFi today. So it's been a while since we checked in on old SoFi. It had that run up over 20% after earnings. And then the next day it pulled back a little over 8 and then almost 7 and then just a smidge. And it's basically lost. If we just come from here, the very few days leading up to earnings, it's lost all of those gains. So not surprising. However, we are back at the $8 level. So the very storied $8 level. We've talked about it a lot because look at all of the passing through the $8 level that it's done. This is $7.91 as a reference point. So all of the battle of 8, right? Constantly sort of, this huge push down, and that's right about where it catches, and then tries to push up, and then gets pulled back down and wrestles with that level incessantly. And it's doing it again right now. So we'll see, if it can put anything in. I'm not going to put this on the chart yet, but there is potentially a little bit of an uptrend support developing right around here. We'll see if that continues to take shape or not. This gap is like nearly full. I don't know that it would have enough sort of like draw to actually pull the stock in its direction, but the high this day was 945 and the low on this day was 952. So we're 7 cents away. I'm going to leave it there for now because it is a resistance level anyway, and just say, it's not quite full yet. I don't know if it'll play any role, but there you have it. Obviously, it filled this gap really quickly, and this gap here is also then filled by these wicks. So, all of the up gaps getting filled and the down gaps taking a longer time to get any action. Such is the story of SoFi. Now, the nearest in levels, as far as I see it, if it does pull back that 791 that we talked about, it splits a bunch of this price action, right? And it played an instrumental role back here, as well as back here. And if it does push 847, that approach to 850, we've seen this a lot where investors, whomever they are, reluctant to push to a certain level. And so oftentimes we get those ahead of the level. I still don't see anything super strong, super compelling developing around 9. It does look still to me like it's more around 911 for whatever reason. But then that approach to 950 as well. And then the holding of 10, 10 and a quarter, a bit over 1050, 1110 and 1170. Now if it pulls back further and loses that 791, 739, which held up well here, and then 699, aka 7, and 638, 576, 525. So if we pull in the EMAs to sort of orient ourselves that way, it is a jumbled mess. So we have a bunch of things happening. This gray guy here is the 183 EMA, so the long-term trend EMA. And it's just popping back above it for now, so it was wrestling with it for a while there, but hasn't seemed to play a super significant role. It's more these like bullish crossovers, bearish crossovers that happen that have seemed to sort of hold the most weight. So for now, we're still in fully bearish formation. It's trying to push in the direction, throw some bullish crossovers. We'll see if that is able to effectuate or not. And even if so, sort of, how much really comes of it. We'll see. So on the think or swim side of things, I know this looks like a mess, but let me just sort of let you know what's going on. So we have our typical channels set up here. I pulled in some ATR levels just to sort of compare those and see what those look like. Now, per this setup, this has a concept of buying pressure sort of picking up over 859 with an ultimate +1 ATR price goal of 1104, with a stop in the interim around 981 or so. So if we do get some buying pressure, and it can push it up over, say, 860, maybe we get some motion toward those levels. We'll have to see. And if it does pull back, this has sell-off levels at 707 and stretching all the way down to 462 with a stop in the middle of about 584 or so. So we'll see if any of that comes into play a role or not. It may not, but just wanted to share those. Now on the histogram, we have this like one blip of a trigger candle. So I'm interested to see if this is pure speculation, if now that it came up, it was approaching the mid-range of the channel, and then today it put in this sort of little piddly candle just over it. I'm wondering if there's a potential for, now that the histogram, the bearish momentum dying down to the baseline, and it sort of is signaling potential to trigger, if it could pin itself to the mid-range of the channel, if it could then start to trigger for some period of time, ultimately fire and set off, a bigger move. I'm looking for an old one. We had a trigger and fire here, and a re-trigger and a refire, and that's where we really got this roller coaster. And then nothing just ahead of this one, so it's an indicator. It's not a for sure thing. So keep that in mind. But I would be interested to see if it can pin itself to the mid-range of this channel, and put in some triggering on the TTM squeeze indicator. Maybe it gives us something to look forward to, something to work off of. And again, keep in mind, trigger and fire. The fire doesn't mean that the stock is going to go parabolic at all, but it doesn't mean that it's going to go parabolic to the upside. It could be, that's, hey, there's a big move coming and it's down. But it at least, gives sort of a potential for increased volatility ahead. So we'll see if that happens or not, but just something that, I saw and I thought, could be. All right, folks, I hope that you're enjoying your weekend, and as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.